Rain hammered the empty highway outside the small town of Black Creek, West Virginia. At 1:13 a.m., Daniel Mercer tightened his hands on the steering wheel and tried not to fall asleep. The storm had swallowed the road whole. Trees bent like skeleton fingers in the wind, and the old radio in his truck hissed with static between broken country songs. Daniel hated driving at night. Especially here. He had promised himself he would never return to Black Creek after his mother's funeral 3 years ago. But promises meant nothing when your older brother called crying and said, "Dad disappeared." Now Daniel was driving deeper into the mountains he once escaped from. Lightning flashed. For half a second, he saw something standing beside the road. A person. Tall. Still. Holding a lantern. Daniel slammed the brakes. The truck skidded sideways on wet asphalt before stopping inches from the ditch. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. The road behind him was empty. No person. No lantern. Just rain. "Great," he muttered. "Now I'm hallucinating." He started driving again, slower this time. Black Creek was one of those forgotten Appalachian towns people only passed through by accident. Half the buildings were abandoned. The coal mines closed decades ago. Most families either drank themselves numb or vanished into the woods. Daniel's family never left. At least not completely. His father had worked the mines until they shut down. After that, he became obsessed with stories passed down for generations, stories about the Lantern Man. As a child, Daniel remembered hearing the warnings every winter. Never follow lights in the woods. Never answer knocking after midnight. And if you see a lantern swinging between the trees, run. His father believed every word. Daniel thought he was insane. Until the disappearances started. 3 people vanished in Black Creek over the last 10 years. No bodies. No evidence. Only muddy footprints leading into the forest. The locals blamed bears, drugs, runaways, anything but the old stories. But Daniel remembered something nobody else did. The night his mother died. She had whispered something to him in the hospital while machines beeped around her. "Your father made a deal." Then she died before explaining what she meant. The truck finally rolled into town. Black Creek looked dead. Most windows were dark. The diner was closed. The gas station lights flickered weakly in the storm. Daniel parked outside his childhood home. The porch light swung back and forth in the wind. His older brother, Caleb, opened the door before Daniel even knocked. Caleb looked terrible. Sunken eyes. Unshaven face. Hands trembling. "You came. You said Dad disappeared." Caleb swallowed hard. "He went into the woods 3 nights ago." Daniel stepped inside. The house smelled like mildew and cigarettes. "You called the police?" "They searched." Caleb laughed nervously. "They won't go back." "Why not?" Caleb stared toward the dark hallway. "They found the lantern." A cold knot tightened in Daniel's stomach. "Stop it," he said. "We're not kids anymore. I'm serious." Thunder shook the house. Caleb led him into the kitchen. On the table sat an old rusted lantern covered in mud. Daniel froze. He recognized it instantly. Their father kept it locked in the basement for years. "You touched it?" Daniel asked. Caleb nodded slowly. "After I brought it home, I started hearing things." "What things?" "Knocking. Right then. Thump. Thump. Thump." 3 knocks echoed from the front door. Both brothers stared at each other. It was nearly 2 in the morning. Another knock came. Thump. 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 Caleb whispered, "Don't open it." Daniel forced a laugh. Probably someone needing help. No. The knocks became harder. Violent. The entire door rattled. Thump. 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 Then a voice came from outside. A woman's voice. Soft. Weak. Please, help me. Daniel's blood turned to ice. It sounded exactly like their mother. Caleb backed away from the door, pale as death. That's impossible, Daniel whispered. The voice came again. Danny, let me in. Rain poured outside. The porch light flickered. Daniel slowly stepped toward the window beside the door. And looked out. A woman stood on the porch wearing his mother's old white nightgown. Her face was hidden behind wet black hair. In her hand hung a glowing lantern. Daniel stumbled backward. No. The woman slowly raised her head. Her face was wrong. Skin stretched too tightly across bone. Eyes completely black. Mouth hanging open far too wide. Then she smiled. The knocking stopped instantly. The porch light exploded. Darkness swallowed the house. Caleb screamed. Something slammed against the walls outside. Heavy footsteps circled the house slowly. Crunch. 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 Like boots walking through gravel. Daniel grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer. What the hell is happening? Caleb's voice shook violently. Dad told me before he vanished. What? He said the lantern man finally came to collect. Lightning flashed through the windows. For one horrifying second, dozens of figures stood outside the house. Men. Women. Children. All soaked from rain. All holding lanterns. And all staring directly inside. Then darkness returned. Daniel locked every door and window. This is some sick prank. But even as he said it, he knew it wasn't. The temperature inside the house dropped suddenly. The old floorboards creaked upstairs. Slow footsteps. Someone was walking above them. Caleb whispered, "We're alone in this house, right?" Another creak overhead. Then came dragging sounds. Like something heavy being pulled across the floor. Daniel pointed the flashlight toward the ceiling. Dust drifted down. A wet sound echoed from upstairs. Then a voice growled softly. Danny. His stomach twisted. That voice belonged to his father. Without thinking, Daniel grabbed a fireplace poker and climbed the stairs. Daniel, don't. Caleb shouted. But Daniel kept going. The second floor hallway was pitch black. The flashlight beam shook in his hand. Every childhood memory came rushing back, the nightmares, the whispers at night, his father locking the basement door every evening. The dragging sound continued at the end of the hallway. From their parents' bedroom. Daniel approached slowly. The door stood slightly open. Something moved inside. He pushed the door wider. The flashlight revealed muddy footprints covering the floor. A lantern glowed weakly near the bed. And beside it, their father sat in a rocking chair. Daniel nearly cried with relief. Dad! But the old man didn't move. Dad! The rocking chair slowly turned toward him. Daniel's breath stopped. His father's eyes were sewn shut with black thread. Mud filled his mouth. And his chest moved up and down like he was still breathing. The corpse smiled. Then every lantern outside the house lit at once. Orange light flooded through the windows. A scream erupted downstairs. Caleb. Daniel ran into the hallway. Too late. Something huge moved in the darkness below. Tall. Impossible tall. Its lantern swung slowly from one enormous hand. The smell hit first. Rotting earth. Wet graves. Dead animals. Daniel shined the flashlight downward. and saw the Lantern Man. Its body looked stitched together from multiple corpses. Long arms scraped the walls. Its face shifted constantly between different people, old men, women, children. Then it became his mother's face again. The creature smiled. "You left," it whispered. Caleb screamed from the living room as unseen hands dragged him across the floor. Daniel charged downstairs swinging the poker wildly. The Lantern Man tilted its head unnaturally. Then all the lights went out. Darkness. Absolute darkness. Caleb's screaming stopped. Only rain remained. Daniel swung blindly. The poker hit nothing. Then a lantern flame appeared inches from his face. Inside the fire, he saw impossible things. People hanging from trees. Bodies buried beneath the mines. His father kneeling before the Lantern Man decades ago. And finally, a little boy. Himself. Standing beside the creature in the woods. Smiling. The memory slammed back into him. When Daniel was 8 years old, he got lost in the forest during winter. He should have died. But someone found him. A tall figure carrying a lantern. It brought him home safely. His father had begged the creature to spare Daniel. In return, the Lantern Man claimed a soul from their family every 7 years. Daniel staggered backward in horror. No. His mother had not died naturally. Neither had the missing townspeople. His father had been feeding the creature for decades. The Lantern Man spoke with 100 whispering voices at once. Debt, unpaid. Daniel ran for the front door. The creature did not chase him. It simply pointed toward the woods. Outside, the storm somehow became worse. The townspeople holding lanterns stood motionless in the rain like silent ghosts. Caleb was gone. Only bloody drag marks remained across the porch, leading into the forest. Daniel followed them despite every instinct screaming not to. The woods behind Black Creek were ancient. Twisted trees blocked the moonlight completely. Lanterns glowed between trunks in the distance. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. The deeper Daniel walked, the quieter the world became. No wind. No rain. No insects. Only footsteps. Then he found the clearing. Bodies hung from trees all around him. Fresh ones. Old skeletons. Rotting corpses. Some still moved slightly. At the center stood an abandoned mine entrance. And beside it waited the Lantern Man. Caleb knelt before the creature, barely alive. The monster extended its lantern toward Daniel. Choose. Daniel stared in confusion. The creature pointed at Caleb. Then at the mine. Understanding crashed into him. One soul for another. The same bargain his father made. Save Caleb. Or let him die and end the curse forever. Caleb sobbed. Please. Daniel's entire body shook. The Lantern Man waited patiently. Its lantern flame reflected in hundreds of dead eyes hanging from the trees. Finally, Daniel spoke. No more deals. The creature tilted its head. Daniel grabbed the lantern from its hand. The skin of his palms instantly blistered from heat. And he threw the lantern into the abandoned mine. For the first time, the Lantern Man screamed. The sound was beyond human. Every hanging corpse began shrieking together. The ground shook violently. Orange fire exploded from inside the mine. The creature lunged toward Daniel. And the entire forest erupted in flames. Daniel grabbed Caleb and ran. Trees cracked behind them. Screams echoed everywhere. The Lantern Man chased them through burning woods, its body tearing apart piece by piece. Just before reaching the road, Daniel looked back. The creature stood among the flames, smiling. Then it whispered one final sentence. You already belong to me. The fire swallowed it whole. Authorities blamed the blaze on an old gas pocket beneath the abandoned mines. No bodies were recovered. Black Creek was evacuated within weeks. Daniel and Caleb never returned. But 7 years later, Daniel woke in the middle of the night to hear something outside his apartment in Chicago. Soft knocking. Thump. 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 Then a familiar voice whispered through the door. "Danny, let me in." And beneath the door, orange lantern light slowly appeared.